the whole deal here. Just like I keep telling y'all, this revenue sharing is simply because of the old players. The old players, for whatever reason, they want to make sure that they be able to get some type of revenue sharing, but I just don't think the owners are going to.
In the deeply cynical, violently competitive ecosystem of professional sports, there is a fundamental hierarchy of power that the general public almost never gets to see. The casual fan believes that the superstar athletes hold all the leverage. The sports media aggressively pushes the narrative that the labor unions dictate the terms of engagement. But in the cold, unvarnished reality of billion-dollar corporate boardrooms, the true, undisputed puppet masters are the elite sports agents. Agents operate in the shadows. They are the invisible architects of the entire financial infrastructure. They do not care about public relations, they do not care about social media narratives, and they absolutely do not care about the romanticized concept of union solidarity. They care about one singular, mathematically absolute metric, ensuring that legally binding contracts are signed so that their multi-million-dollar commissions are deposited into their agency bank accounts. For the past 16 months, the elite sports agents of the WNBA have sat back and quietly watched the Players Association fight a deeply ideological, highly publicized war against the billionaire ownership groups. But as the WNBA rapidly approaches a catastrophic season-destroying deadline, the agents have officially lost their patience. They have realized that the union leadership is operating on pure emotion and flawed mathematics, recklessly gambling with the financial futures of the entire workforce. And in a completely unprecedented, league-altering maneuver, the most powerful agents in the world have just kicked down the door of the negotiating room, shoved the union executives aside, and executed a hostile corporate takeover of the collective bargaining process. Welcome to the breakdown. Let us expose the brilliant, brutal intervention of the shadow power brokers, the terrifying mathematical reality of the WNBA's financial offers, and the exact reason why the Caitlin Clark economy is about to be seized by the agents. To truly understand the absolute magnitude of the systemic shockwave that just hit the WNBA, you have to look at the specific, highly curated list of individuals who just declared open war on the players' union. In standard labor disputes, you might see a few mid-level agents leak complaints to the press to protect their fringe roster clients. But what happened late Thursday night was not a mid-level complaint. It was a highly coordinated, tactical nuclear strike orchestrated by the absolute apex predators of the sports management industry. Listen to the devastating reality of exactly whose agents just officially intervened in the collective bargaining negotiations and why this specific list of names mathematically strips the WNBA Players Association of all its remaining authority.
Whoa, if this is true, these are the league top dogs. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, all had their agents send letters to the WNBPA. It said the letter was signed by
The letter was signed by the prominent agents representing Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, and Aja Wilson. Let that terrifying reality sink into the minds of the Union Executive Committee. This is not a random collection of disgruntled representatives. This is the absolute Mount Rushmore of women's basketball. These four players represent the entire economic engine, the complete cultural relevance, and the absolute future of the entire sport. When the agents representing the four most valuable human assets in the history of the league officially bypass the union leadership and demand to be directly included in the final stages of the negotiations, they are sending a crystal clear, unassailable message to the union president. They are saying, you no longer speak for the superstars. You have completely mismanaged the Caitlin Clark stimulus package. You have driven the league to the brink of a suicidal lockout. And we are stepping in to take the steering wheel before you crash the entire multi-billion-dollar vehicle into a brick wall. But why did these elite, highly insulated power brokers suddenly decide to intervene right now? Why abandon the shadows and risk the massive political fallout of publicly castrating the players' union? The answer lies in the deeply complex, highly deceptive financial accounting structures that the union and the owners are currently fighting to the death over. The sports media has drastically oversimplified the revenue-sharing debate, framing it as a simple disagreement over percentages. But the elite sports agents know that the true war is being fought over the legal definition of the revenue itself. Listen to the brutal, mathematically unforgiving explanation of the exact financial chasm that currently exists between the billionaire owners and the players' union, and why the agents realize the union is fighting a war it cannot possibly win.
Foremost, the most important matter right now. The league is proposing a system where the players would receive about 70% of net revenue. That's revenue after deducting expenses, versus the players are asking for a system where they'd get about
The owners are offering 70% of net revenue, while the players are demanding 27.5% of gross revenue. To the untrained eye, offering the players 70% of the pie sounds incredibly generous, almost overwhelmingly fair, but in the ruthless, highly predatory world of corporate finance, net revenue is the ultimate Trojan horse. This is a masterclass in what financial analysts call Hollywood accounting. Gross revenue represents every single dollar that enters the WNBA ecosystem: the television contracts, the ticket sales, the merchandise, the corporate sponsorships. It is the absolute top-line number before a single bill is paid. Net revenue, however, is the amount of money left over only after the billionaire owners deduct every conceivable operating expense. And in the world of professional sports ownership, you can legally manipulate your operating expenses to ensure that your net profit is mathematically zero. The owners can heavily inflate the salaries of their front office executives. They can charge astronomical, artificially inflated rent for the use of their own arenas. They can write off massive marketing budgets, and they can claim aggressive depreciation on their franchise assets. By the time the elite corporate accountants are finished deducting expenses, that massive $2.2 billion television deal vanishes into thin air. Offering the players 70% of net revenue effectively means offering them 70% of absolutely nothing. The union leadership correctly identified this accounting trap and aggressively demanded gross revenue instead to ensure they get a guaranteed piece of the top-line money generated by the Caitlin Clark effect. But the agents recognize a terrifying reality that the union executives refuse to accept. The owners will absolutely never, under any circumstances, surrender 27% of their top-line gross revenue. They would literally rather lock the doors, cancel the season, and let the league go bankrupt than set a corporate precedent that compromises their absolute financial control. And the sheer, undeniable proof that the owners are completely unwilling to compromise on the top-line revenue is blatantly exposed in the current salary cap proposals. The salary cap is the direct mathematical reflection of how much guaranteed cash the owners are actually willing to distribute to the workforce. Listen to the absolute jaw-dropping discrepancy between the two salary cap proposals, and exactly why the sports agents realize that the union and the owners are completely detached from reality.
Look at the salary cap under year one of the proposals that both sides are proposing. For the players, they would say the year one salary cap would be around 9.5 million, and for the league, it would be around 5.65 million. So a big.
The players are demanding a year one salary cap of $9.5 million. The league is fiercely holding the line at $5.65 million. That is a massive, unbridgeable gap of nearly $4 million per single franchise. When two negotiating parties are separated by nearly 50% of total valuation in the final hours of a collective bargaining deadline, it means the negotiations have completely broken down. It means the union is screaming into a void, and the owners are simply staring at their watches, waiting for the players to biologically run out of leverage. The elite sports agents looked at that massive $4 million discrepancy. They looked at the union's stubborn refusal to back down from the gross revenue demands, and they realized that a catastrophic labor lockout is mathematically inevitable if they do not personally intervene. And this brings us to the absolute core motivation driving this entire corporate coup. The sports media loves to debate the ethics of revenue sharing and the cultural importance of women's basketball, but the agents are driven by the most raw, unfiltered capitalist instinct on the planet: the preservation of their own financial commissions. Listen to the unvarnished, brutally honest explanation of exactly why these highly powerful agents are risking their reputations to force the players' union into signing a compromise deal.
Get this deal done, everybody's going to be affected. And the reason why these agents is putting in letters is because they getting money off this too. The agents get a piece of all these players' contracts.
The agents get a 2 to 3% piece of all these player contracts. That is the absolute bottom line of this entire corporate thriller right now, because the players' union strategically advised its members to sign short-term contracts to align with this specific CBA negotiation. Over 80% of the entire WNBA is sitting in unrestricted free agency. That means 80% of the league's workforce does not currently have a legally binding contract. If you are an elite sports agent representing 10 different WNBA players and none of your clients have signed contracts, your agency is generating absolutely zero revenue from the sport of basketball. You are carrying the operational overhead of representing these athletes, negotiating their brand deals, and managing their public relations, but you are not collecting a single dime of commission from their league salaries. The agents know that if the March 10th deadline passes without a signed collective bargaining agreement, the owners will freeze the league. the expansion drafts for Toronto and Portland will be canceled, the collegiate draft will be postponed, and the free agency period will be completely locked down. The agents cannot afford to let the union leadership play a multi-month game of financial chicken with the billionaires. They are stepping in to violently force a resolution because they desperately need their clients to sign contracts so they can extract their 3% net commission. The agents are perfectly willing to force the players to accept the owner's heavily restricted $5.65 million salary cap because 3% of a compromised contract is infinitely better than 3% of a canceled season. This entire situation exposes the vicious underlying hypocrisy of the WNBA Players Association's grand strategy. For the past 12 months, the veteran union leadership has been aggressively attempting to weaponize the Caitlin Clark effect. They tried to use the massive surge in television ratings and attendance generated by the rookie class to guilt the ownership groups into handing over a historic percentage of gross revenue. They wanted to use Caitlin Clark as a battering ram to break open the owner's financial vault, but Caitlin Clark's own representatives, alongside the representatives of Angel Reese and Aja Wilson, just completely disarmed the union. The agents representing the actual economic engines of the sport looked at the union executives and effectively said, "You do not get to use our clients' immense cultural gravity to drag the entire league into an unfunded labor strike. Our clients have massive, multi-million-dollar off-court endorsement deals that require them to actually play basketball on national television. We will not allow you to sacrifice the greatest economic momentum in the history of women's sports just because you are too proud to accept a realistic salary cap." The March 10th deadline is the ultimate, terrifying crucible for the WNBA. The owners are holding the line with absolute, psychopathic financial discipline. The union leadership is rapidly losing the trust of its own working-class membership. And now, the elite sports agents have officially crossed the Rubicon, executing a hostile takeover to ensure that the contracts get signed and the commissions get paid. The players' union arrogantly thought they were the most powerful entity in the room, but they completely forgot the golden rule of professional sports. The billionaires always write the checks, but the agents always make sure the ink dries. What is your completely unvarnished, highly analytical take on this unprecedented corporate intervention? Do you believe the elite sports agents are executing a brilliant maneuver to save the season from an incompetent union leadership? Or are they simply greedy middlemen selling the players out to protect their own commissions? And more importantly, do you agree that the owner's offer of 70% net revenue is nothing but a deceptive Hollywood accounting trick designed to cheat the players out of the massive profits generated by Caitlin Clark? Drop your completely unfiltered, brutal analysis in the comments section below. If you want the uncompromising truth about the real business, the real strategy, and the real cutthroat corporate politics of professional sports, hit that subscribe button, brutally smash the like button, and turn on the bell notification so you never miss a deep dive. We do not do mainstream media fluff on this channel. We expose the leverage, we follow the agency commissions, and we reveal the terrifying financial reality behind the press conferences. I will see you all in the next breakdown.